now time to add the onClick listener to our recycler view. We're also going to touch up the recycler view as well, so it looks a little bit nicer. Welcome to Mobile Application Tutorials. My name's Nigel. Okay, the previous tutorial went on for a long time, well over 30 minutes, well above my target time of 12 to 15 minutes. So this tutorial should be way shorter, and we're going to add the onClick listener to our recycler view. So let's go straight into it. Oops! And if you just want to learn how to get a onClick listener to a recycler view, and you don't want to go through all these previous episodes because they're not relevant, you do need to sign up to my website here. It's free, and I'll give you the instructions on how to download it, or if you can see it on the screen there, there's the Git tag. For those of you new to Android or new to Git, there is an accompanying video there explaining how to do this using Android Studio. Anyway, let's jump into the code and add that onClick listener. So into Android Studio, we're going to add the onClick listeners into our RecyclerView.Adapters. So we'll go to the back history one first. And inside the onBindViewHolder is where we're going to add our onClick listener. And so what we can do here is call holder. And it's got a reference to an item view which actually represents the recycler view itself. So I didn't want to just put it on the text, I wanted to include that favicon as well. So I wanted to add the accompanying layout, so to speak. So, and from there we can just call setOnClickListener. We're going to use the Kotlin version. Okay, we're in there now. I'm going to use a similar method to what we did with the list view. I'm just going to use a range just to capture that. You could probably use a simpler method for this back history adapter, but I want to keep the methodology similar for both back and forward adapter lists. So what we're going to do here is set up our range using a for. I set a for. Trying to get Kotlin to autocomplete for me. Okay, Android Studio to autocomplete for me. So we do I in, and we're going to start from 0 and until, so it doesn't include the final element, it's going to be the web history and the current index. So we're going to include up till the current index, but not the current index itself, which is why we're using until. Okay, let's set up some curly braces. Okay, in here we're going to do a check, so we'll do an if. So we'll do the check on the title text. So we'll call the holder title dot text equals, and we'll call down to our web history, get item and index, and the index is I. It's going to increment each time in that loop, and we'll do a check for the title itself there, and set up some more curly braces. So if that's good, we can actually, so these conditions are met, we can actually jump across to the new web page in our list, and to do that we'll call our WebView. And go back or forward, and it'll be I minus the current index. And to get the current index, it's calling web history current index. And so just reiterating what we talked about in one of the previous episodes, the go back or forward function works on an offset compared to where your current position in the index is. So you're either going to go forward or behind the current index, and because this is the backlist adapter, we're going to go behind. It's going to be our desired effect here. And once we've done this, we actually need to remove the dialog or dismiss the dialog. And for this, I want to actually pass the dialog in as a constructor. So I'm just going to call this I'll just call it dialog. And it's going to be of the type history dialog fragment. So we'll pass that down there. So what we can do is to then dismiss that dialog by calling dialog dismiss. And then we can break out of our loop. Okay, let me copy this code. We're going to have to make a few slight changes, but we can reuse most of it in the forward adapter. So let's jump across into the forward history adapter and go into onBindViewHolder again. I will remove that breakpoint. And we'll just add the dialog first of all, just to get rid of that error. So again, it's a value dialog and it's history dialog fragment. Okay, and this is going to be a bit different. This is moving forward up the list, so it's everything above the current index. So we're going to start off at the current index. So web history current index, and the current index is the current position. So we want to jump ahead one above that and not include our current position. So I'm just going to add 1 to that. And in this case, we're going to go straight to the end of the web history list, which we can get that from the size. Okay, so we're just traversing above the index just to get everything in the forward list, and everything else in this code should be able to remain the same. Okay, now we'll make the changes inside our dialog fragment itself. So we'll jump across into history dialog fragment. And so we've got a couple of errors there. We'll fix those first of all. We just need to add this basically representing the history dialog fragment. And I'll do the same down below here as well. Okay, and that's all we need to do for that. Now what I want to do here is I just want to touch up our recycle view a little bit more, just making it similar to the list view we had before with the background color and the divider lines. So we'll just do that just down below here. First of all, I'm just going to add a, what is it called? It's called a divider item decoration. So I'll set up a value for that called item decoration. It's called the divider item decoration here. And the context is going to be the activity. And what's orientation for that? And we can use a linear layout manager orientation for that, which will be vertical. Now we can set a color for that. And to set the color for that, we'll use a set drawable. And we'll use a color drawable for that. And I want to use the color red. And it's just a matter of calling out recycler view and add item decoration with the item decoration value we just set up before. So that's divider. Now let's set up our background color. And again, I'll use a color drawable for that. And in this case, I want to set the color to be light gray. Okay, and these should be the only changes we need to make to get the onClick listener working, and just adding dividers and a background color to our recycler view. So we'll run this and then I'll generate a history and we'll see what we get. Okay, so I've started the application and I've gone browsing through some pages just because it does take a bit of time. BBC website takes really long time to load the web pages for some reason. Anyway, so I've generated a history. So what I'm going to do is do a long back press on the back button. And then you can see our history showing up with the dividers and the background color. So let's go back to my original page, which is the webAppTuts website. And there we are, back to the original page. And I'll go forward again. And I can just select on the webAppTuts tutorials. And there they are there. And then if I just go forward again, and let's say I want to go to BBC Sport. And if I scroll up, I've got the BBC Sport page there. So that gives us a tidy implementation of how to navigate our back and our forward histories. So we saw from this tutorial that it didn't take too much work to put our onClick listeners in our adapters, just as long as you put it in the right place. And we also done a little bit of touching up to our recycler view by setting the background color and adding some dividers. And if you do want to get these code changes here, they do go into my website. So I will be putting the git tag for where you can get the code changes to this particular tutorial. And again, for those of you new to Android or GitHub, there'll be an accompanying video to show you how to do that in Android Studio. And if you do require additional help, my time, I do provide that. We can book training schedules for 30 minutes or 1 hour. You pay in advance, and I'll set up a web conferencing call where we can share our screens and do a full-on immersion tutorial or tour, or just to help you out with your projects. And that completes this tutorial. Thank you for taking the time for watching this one. Bye for now.